What's up, guys, and welcome back. And behind me, you'll see something that you're used to seeing around here. A shit box. But for once, it's not my shit box. It just has my bumper on it. This is going to be Hack-and-Slash Handiwork's first foray into the world of motorsports. This fine automotive machine is a trailer racer right here. We're going to hook a trailer to it, and we're going to smash the shit out of it at the county fair. But it's got a bad rear end, and we need to fix that. Luckily, I am a hoarder, as you may know. So I had a good rear end. We're gonna bolt this right there. And then we are going to put dual rear wheels on it because that's hilarious. And also because I happen to have a set of dually fenders that aren't doing anyone any good except for getting ran into by crane trucks. I don't know who did that. I don't know anybody who might have a crane truck with a big bumper that runs into shit like a retard. But anyway, we got some dually fenders that are smashed on both sides, so they're not worth anything. So I got a plan, and we're going to bolt these dually fenders to that Suburban, and it involves the angle grinder. We're just going to zip all the way around into the sheet metal on here. So we got a good flange, and we'll just self-tapper it right to the side of that thing. And we'll have a dually Suburban in like a day without using any store-bought parts. So yeah, we'll get after it and see how it goes. All right, so here's the plan. I don't have one. We're just gonna freehand this with an angle grinder, and we're gonna cut the bedside off of this, and hopefully that works. I think it should. But we're just going to time-lapse it because it's slow and boring and windy, and you're not going to hear anything but the angle grinder anyway. So, yeah. Angle grinder, cut-off wheel. Time to remove some parts. Alright, I thought I should get everyone up to speed since I haven't really explained very well. But a trailer race is an actual race. It's a 15-lap race on a dirt track. But it's also similar to a demolition derby where it's full contact and everyone has a trailer, and that trailer needs to stay attached to your vehicle or you're disqualified. Obviously, you're also disqualified if your vehicle quits running. So the two ways to win are either complete your 15 laps before everyone else or be the last one standing by having the toughest vehicle. And also there's a prize for crowd favorite, which is what we're going for with the big bumper, and we're putting the dually tires on to stand out and be unique, and we're just having fun essentially. And also this will be good to give us blowout protection. You know, we can lose a tire on either side. We have a spare, but this is all just for fun. There's not really any money in it, and there's no real prize, so let's see how it goes. I'll take a couple of Milwaukee batteries and switch into this garbage. But it only took a couple cutting wheels, and we now have a Chevy Suburban dually conversion kit sitting right here. You know, we got our nice pristine wheel wells. You want that. But the real important part is you want to make sure you leave this flange around the edge here, because that's where your self-tappers go. And you just Bondo over that, or don't, because we're not going to. But it is an option. But yeah, we just slap this right over the side of the Suburban, and we'll have a dually Suburban. I can't believe they charge thousands of dollars for these kits on the intranet when you can just do it yourself with parts in your yard. Because obviously everyone has a dually box in their yard. It can't just be me. But yeah, we'll cut that other side off, and then we'll come back when it's time to do some axle swapping and then some body work. Alright, well, we got a change of venue here, and getting this thing up in the air, we'll be putting this rear end in it. It's not a dually rear end, so the dually wheels might not fit, but it's a race truck, so you don't need rear brakes. So we might just delete the drums so that the wheels fit over it. But we're going to have to do some test fit and figure that out. And get that rear end out of there first. Also, we're going to weld this diff. So, whole bunch of stuff is going to happen right now. And here's the reason we're doing a rear end and dually swap at all. It's not supposed to do that or sound like that. So, yeah. Something in there isn't good. And we're just going to get rid of it. All right, we got the bad rear end removed here. I didn't record any of that because it was just a lot of torch work. You guys have seen me torch rear ends out of things. It's not anything new that you haven't seen before. And now we're about to knock the diff cover off and figure out just how bad this bad rear end is. So, moment of truth, maybe. Oh, that's weird. The ring gear actually looks healthy, and the spider gears. Huh. Let's see. Our pinion is in there, but yeah, we have no engagement on that diff. That's, I don't know what's bad about it, but I don't know, it might need shims, it might need something, but surprisingly, it didn't really chew this up too bad. It's just got, well, a lot of free play in it. So that's probably fixable with some adjustment, or we can just put the good rear end in it and call it a day, which is what we're going to do, because that's easier. Except for the fact that we also have to break that one apart. And we're going to weld up all these spider gears for maximum traction with these crappy old bias ply mud tires that have no air in them. So, yeah, it's bad. I don't know why it's bad, but we're not really going to investigate that too deeply. All right, so we did a little more investigating, and it turns out after point at the pinion. After some investigating and draining the fluid, our pinion and ring gear actually have fairly decent engagement, but the play is here in the spiders. You're not going to be able to see it very good, but the carrier is wore out. This is supposed to be flat all the way across, but if I kind of poke in there with my knife, which you shouldn't do to a rear end you care about, but we don't care about this one. You see how the tip is catching that ridge? That's the problem. These spider gears actually wore themselves into this carrier, and now they're spreading apart, and they just don't have any engagement. Oh, there. This one wobbles. Yeah, you can see them wobbling there. See how that one's wobbly? And that's just because these are opening up and they're not engaging quite the same anymore. So, yeah, that's chooched. It's done. It's retired. We're out of here. That's scrap metal. Hopefully the new one doesn't look like that when we open it up, but we'll find out when we open it. All right, second moment of truth here. We're about to see if we're replacing a bad rear end with another bad rear end. Hopefully this is a good one. Crack her open. One hit wonder even. Well, all the pieces are in there, and the carrier actually is how it should be. So that's good for it. You fucker. Yeah, no, we got teeth in here. There's teeth there. There's probably a pinion under that oil, but there's oil in it, so that's a good sign. So we're going to call this a good rear end for now. All right, now step two is we're going to weld the fuck out of all of that, but we got to make sure it's clean because weld doesn't stick to oil. So there's only one way to do that. That's about how it goes. Looks pretty clean. Well, as you can see, it's a pretty simple process. When you weld the fuck out of it, all you do is weld the fuck out of it, essentially. So that's what we're doing, is we're welding the fuck out of it. All right, we got one side welded, we flipped it over, now we're welding the other, but we've got to clean it, and also it helps to preheat this thick metal so that the welds stick good, so why not do both at the same time? Clean and preheat, all in one step. Really, we could probably be cooking our lunch, too, at the same time. Oh, shit, I just lit the gear oil on fire. That's not good. All right, as we're waiting for the smoke to settle, that ended very poorly. We're gonna have to clean this again because there's fire extinguisher inside it. Gear oil everywhere. Bad plan. Don't try and clean and preheat at the same time, apparently. All right, the fire is settled and back to the welding. We'll see if take two goes a little smoother here. All right, we got her all welded up, and it's not quite an orb of traction, but there's a lot of weld there. It's pretty good to go. Didn't really do much tutorial on that because if you don't know how to weld a differential, you probably shouldn't be welding a differential. There's not a lot of parts in here, so you should kind of figure out the basics of how this works so you know what to weld before you start trying to weld it. But yeah, once you know what you're doing, just weld the fuck out of it. That's what we did. And it'll last, at least until the finish line of the race. And that's all it has to do. So now it's time to put it back in the truck, which we probably won't film much of either because you've seen that before too. So yeah, we'll throw it back in and probably come back when it's time to start fitting fenders. The diff can have just a little bit of RTV as a treat. You don't need to worry about cleaning out the fire extinguisher dust either. That'll get mixed in. Everything's fine. Your oil should look like that. That's good for it. All right, well, it's the next day. We got our rear end kind of setting in here, and U-bolts were bent a little overly tight, and then we spread them out overly loose, and then the radius was all messed up, but that's nothing that can't be fixed with a bigger hammer. So we got one hammer down there tapping up while I tap down on the top plate. And we kind of sort of squished it together to where they mostly fit now. Don't worry about the air gap. That's for aerodynamics and speed. Race truck. But again, like always, our U-bolts are too long, so zip discs to the rescue. We'll just buzz them off, and then we'll just crank the hell out of them with the impact. And U-joint, nothing else. No diff breather, no brakes, no shocks. Racetrack. It's all weight reduction for speed purposes. So yeah, we'll tighten these down, put the U-joint in, and then we'll be ready to hit the road and test our weld job on this differential. All right, so we pulled the drive shaft out to replace that U-joint because we had to cut it off of the axle, and we found the other half of the play in our drive line. Turns out we had a bad rear end and a bad drive shaft, but it's Sunday, and Fat Boy here did not buy an extra U-joint, so we'll probably just put it together like this and do a U-joint at a later date because that's got at least a handful of miles left, probably half a tank of fuel. So, yeah, we'll figure it out. Hillbilly line lock engaged. All we did is, let's see, I folded it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times and just hammered it very flat. I would be amazed if any brake fluid can make it through there. So, yeah, that's our rear brake line because this is our brakes, this and the other drivers, because it's not technically a demo derby, but it is a demo derby. So that's our brakes. We don't need those ones. We might have these ones, I don't know. Well, the U-joint's still bad and the door got a little folded, but she doesn't clunk going in and out of gear anymore, so that's an improvement. And now it's heading out of the shop for a test drive. You don't need to worry about that. That's just brake fluid. We're not using those anyway. So now there's only one way to test a welded diff, and that's burnouts. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, time to find out if both wheels spin or if things get even crunchier than they were when we started. I'm really hoping they don't get crunchy. Oh, turns out we don't have enough horsepower. It's raining. We used the cheat code, and that gutless TBI motor still has no power. Oh, he kind of roasted them in reverse, but turns out welded diffs don't do you any good when you don't have the motor to back it up. Neutral drop it. There we go. And we're spinning them both. Perfect. That's a success, and it's not even crunchy. Good deal. Well, it's Sunday afternoon, and we're kind of running out of time, so we might end up just doing our dually conversion next weekend. We got all our fender flares in the back and all our extra tires in the back, so we'll get around to that when we have the time. But I have a birthday dinner to get to, so thanks for watching, at least. We'll probably have this back on the channel a handful more times while we build a cage and get it more race ready. Can't even see it. There we go. Yeah, so this thing still needs a lot more work. Ridiculous. We're gonna get kicked out of the shop, I guarantee it.